Good evening. The sunlight is going down, but the lights are coming up at St DiaspAURA Festival tonight. And you can hear the bells that are ringing via some very funky electronics. Good evening. The sunlight is going down, but the lights are coming up at St DiaspAURA Festival tonight. And you can might have to have a go myself later on. Are you guys, do you mind being interviewed? Are you guys having fun?
We're the artists that created it.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
You want to know about campanology?
Campanology. That's the art of bowing. Campanology. Oh, well, first. Oh, fantastic. Are you, I was going to say, have you actually rung bells before?
I haven't actually. Well, I spent a long time Googling it. And working on the physics of how the bell moves through its mechanism. So that's what we're simulating here, basically.
So what made you want to create, specifically the bells?
We wanted to recreate as the church it would have been. So this was the old bell tower up there. And so we wanted to put the bells back in so we could actually see how the church
Campanology. That's
the original mechanism that we would have had. So that kind of bracing of the bell, and obviously it would have been a wooden structure that would have held the
you've got to imagine
originally.
these ropes wrap around that wheel, and as you pull them, so you've got to get the timing right. If you just keep pulling, it doesn't work. You have to pull and let go.
And so did you look up a lot of the history of St the church here and actually what the bell was like?
We did try to find some audio of the bell, which was very difficult because I think it went into disuse in the 60s.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a lot that we could find in terms of, we thought,
just used a sort of a church bell that
we thought
right.
in terms of the size of this
Big
church.
Ben, it's a bit clankier, but it's like a small church.
It would have been great had we found some original footage. We did think that maybe someone who'd perhaps got married in the church or something like that might have had some footage. So we did try to find it. But this equivalent ding dong is the sort of our own bell creation of the size of the church that we think that would be here.
And I think it's probably a fantastic opportunity for people like the public, because I mean, you hear bells, or church bells all the time, but actually never get a chance to do it at all.
Or a laser one.
Definitely not a laser one. It's absolutely fantastic. So no, it's brilliant.
Would you like a go?
Oh, go on then.
Yeah,
go on then. Can I give you that?
Yeah, of course you can.
Right,
so it's a little bit of.
On the right hand one.
Okay.
You just pull it to start with and then let go. You need to pull it when it's up on the side. Let it go past, then pull. That's it. Let go.
That's it.
Pull again.
I made the teacher.
Let it go past. Pull again.
Oh, we've got a natural here, Paul.
Oh no. That's the concentration.
One bell.
Yes.
To get the ring.
Well, they'd have 8 of those.
But to get the timing of
Yes.
multiple people.
Well, you could
What
do.
they do is they put it up on the display at the top. I can get right to the top. It takes a while to get it up there, especially as on that other thing as well. Basically, if they get it right to the top, it stops, and then you can kind of pull it. One pull will make the bell go. So basically, each bell they're all doing it in different patterns. But the thing with bell ringing the changes, it's called, is it starts ding 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 ding, and then it changes, swaps the last two. So it's ding 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 ding, and then it swaps the round. There's this mathematical pattern.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
a full, I don't remember what the number is, but for a full peel of changes, it's like, it takes hours.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing.
But we've only got
Look,
two, so it
well,
doesn't take very long.
it's still amazing.
We've got two, but obviously it's a collaborative effort. So if you're really clever, then you'll get them so it goes ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
Maybe
But
we'll have a go again later.
I know, that's right.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of practice, but it can be done.
Sorry, remind me, what was the technical word
campanology.
for
Campanology.
It's the pulling of bells. I don't know what it is for laser though.
No, I
We'll
don't
have to,
think
we'll
we've got
have
a
to
laser.
create
We'll
a
have to
new
have to
name,
create-
won't we?
yes.
We think this is
Laser
the world first. We don't
campanology.
know if anyone else has ever done a bell with lasers.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, we'll come back and find you again later there. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. Do you guys mind being interviewed for the festival? Is that okay?
Yeah, they can.
So what's your names?
Amber. Charlie.
And have you been to the church before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you involved in the festival?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing in St Denker Herrick Silver Band.
Have you done any of the light displays?
I don't want to know.
Oh, can you show me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My mum did one too.
So what inspired you to create that? It's so pretty. What's been your inspiration for it?
Well, I just really like doing instruments and stuff, and I like doing art and stuff, so I thought I would help.
Do you play any instruments?
I play the cornet.
Fantastic. How long have you been playing?
In the band about 9 months or so.
It's fantastic. So what are you looking forward to seeing this evening? Any?
Really know.
Have you walked around the church to see what other displays are up?
I've seen in the church of all the boats.
Yeah. Have you seen the electric church
No.
bell?
No, not yet.
Recommend going and having a go. That's very fun.
Yeah.
Because you can hear church bells in a lot of churches, but actually getting a chance to ring one, and if you look up on the wall there, you can see the lights of it, and it actually shows you as you go round.
It looks very fun.
It does look fun, doesn't it? So, have you done anything of the displays?
Yeah, I did the boats under church over there.
Oh, fantastic! Have you enjoyed doing it and being involved in the
Yes.
project? Now, why do you think that using a church that's in a not very usable state, why do you have any thoughts on why it's important that we continue using them for the community?
Because people have been buried here and they should enjoy it.
And do you think as young people that it's important that we have historical buildings that you can look at when you're older and enjoy, and that it's not just left to crumble down?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll come back again after the festival?
Yeah.
Super. Excellent. Well, it's lovely chatting to you both, and have a good evening. Thanks. Thank you. Bye. Do you want to say? Oh, I'm knocking it over. So, St Day's Holy Trinity Church was built in 1826 as part of the Church Buildings Commission after the Battle of Waterloo, and it's in a old Gothic revival style, which is a bit tricky to see now as it's getting darker, but you can see how there's lots of tall spires and the pinnacles on the edges of the building. That I imagine in its day it would have been a really beautiful place to come, and it's a shame that it got to a point of disrepair in the 1980s, and it's been lovingly taken over by the old church St Day's Old Church Community Interest Company, who've turned it into a community space and done and put on festivals like the DiaspAURA Festival here tonight and over the weekend, which just makes it really important that we look after the buildings that are are a part of history and a part of our heritage. So the festival goes on tonight, Friday, and over the whole weekend. And tonight we've got lasers, artwork, music, food, and more starting at 6 o'clock, which I think it's just gone. I'd like to say because the church bells are ringing, but they're probably going to go on for most of the evening. But it's a fantastic opportunity to see the sort of what's going on in the community and a celebration of the town and the building and the heritage that's gone into it. And it wouldn't have been possible without a number of sponsors involved in the project. So we've got the Arts Council England, Heritage Lottery Fund, the Cornwall Community Foundation, Feast, making great art happen across Cornwall, Cornwall Council and St Day Parish Council. And it's fantastic that they've taken the interest and support of this fantastic project and festival. Yes. Should we have a wander round? Should we go? So what's really interesting that when we came earlier, we couldn't actually tell exactly what they were going to look like, but there are these circular displays sort of almost weaving in and out of the building, then fantastically put up. When we first came in, it wasn't sure exactly how it was going to look, but they've got written across them a number of lovely phrases. Sounding the right note, ringing the changes. 1985, bang, the roof falls in. And down on this end, ecclesiastical toy fort, which is almost what it feels like. It's a sort of, building without a roof, and you can imagine sort of what it would have been in its day. But it's just this fantastic way to include the art displays in and around where the windows would have been and around the memorial displays. And it just sort of brings a lot more of life into the building. Oh, what's in this? Should we have a look? What it says on the front? Welcome to South Africa. And it's are they flags? I'm not sure, but it looks fantastic. It's a number of rugby. Some, guessing they're diamonds, a flag, and a church. And I think there's some more around, so we'll have to find them in a bit. Excuse me, do you guys mind being interviewed? Yes. Sorry. I'm
always doing interviews at the moment.
So, what's your name?
My name's Claire.
Oh, and you are involved with the project and the team.
I'm artistic director of the Daylight Group, who have come together with the Old Church CIC to transform this kind of roofless church into a space for community arts and community arts events, anything anybody can think of, photo shoots, and tonight we're launching that kind of new era for the old church. So we want to bring people in, we want to bring new audiences in, we want to see how the space can be used and what its future is, because it needs to be sustainable. We need to make it work, and the Daylight Group kind of specialise in working with heritage projects to kind of support heritage funded projects, and we bring in money from the Arts Council, from Feast Cornwall, from sort of small organisations to run, and this whole thing has been made by the community. Every single piece that you see pretty much, apart from, having said that lasers haven't, but the lasers have had a workshop in the village, so they did a laboratory of light workshop. So everybody sort of worked behind the scenes. So we've had the scroll making, the animation box, and the stories of they're the memorials, stories behind the memorials in the old church. And the timeline has been made by the Make Do Men group and by local community people who have just been kind of making that work, which has been a huge thing. And that's kind of like a time, it's called a stitch in time. So it's a timeline. It's kind of stitching the church together, and it's also like the blood of the community sort of pulsating through.
Yeah.
So
we were just looking at them a minute ago, and I just said it like I wasn't too sure when I came in earlier, and obviously you could see what they sort of look like, but actually with the lights on, it's really an effective sort of piece of it weaving in and out of the church.
Tomorrow it will be weaving outside the church as well, but unfortunately because we have been just battling with wind and rain, we've had to sort of like bring everything into the church tonight, and we've slightly reduced what we've got, because we've just been running to get it done in time, and it's really exciting, because I mean all those chandeliers in there have been made as part of the community. They're all groups from the community who I gave them a frame, and they've come back with something different, and it's been so exciting just to receive these beautiful creations, and there's so much creativity in the community that you just don't know until you do something like this. So it's incredible. So it's been a real journey, but we're here.
Excellent. So I'm going to have to admit something. I'm from Plymouth.
Okay. Well, I'm happy about that. It's come a long way. That's
yes.
Great.
And I am so overjoyed that I've come here to see this. But why are buildings like this, projects like this, and events like this important for people beyond just sort of the immediate St Days community to come along and see stuff like this?
Well, I think there's also, I think it's really important that people can see out of St Day what St Day can do, because we are just a village. We're not a town, we're not a big city. We don't have a lot of, you'll go to, say, Plymouth Illuminate, and they have corporate sponsorship, that everything is there, and it's incredibly hard work. But we're just doing we've been inspired by Plymouth Illuminate and Lumiere London, and we go to Amsterdam and look at their light festivals, and we try to bring a bit of those things into here, but we want to make it very much the community and show what our community can do, and I think we've actually really done that.
Yes, definitely. So you'd recommend anyone, even from as far away as Plymouth, coming down to see?
Oh my word, yeah, I think it's absolutely, and we're very welcoming. We've got cafe, we've got a nice warm space with cafe, and here you see the UV harbours where you can make an origami UV boat, bring it down and illuminate it in your harbour. So that's more about the diaspora of Cornwall. So you kind of take your boat on a journey into the harbour.
Fantastic. So tell me a bit more, because I wasn't sure what these were. I think Australia.
So this is the Americas.
Oh, the Americas, right.
So you can go from the Americas to Australia.
South Africa was over there.
Yeah, because apparently, I think the phrase is, wherever there's a hole in the ground, there's a Cornishman. So we are celebrating Cornish mining, because also this church has a diaspora history. That's the cousin Jacks, the miners are going abroad. So they have, around the graveyard, we've sort of hunted them out, and there are graveyards for people who died in Mexico, Bolivia, Johannesburg, America, all around the graveyard. So that's why we wanted to link the two things together. And it's about journeys, and it's about people coming from Plymouth on that journey.
Yes, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you ever so much for chatting to me, and I'm sure we'll come and speak to you later to find out how your evening's going.
Thank you so much.
That's all right.
Come and join us.
Yes.
It's not that cold, is it?
It's not. And actually, once you sort of once you're in the space, it is quite protected. So it's excellent.
Now it is.
Yeah. Super. Thank you ever so much.
Oh, you're on a journey with your boat. Pop it in the boat. Pop it in the port. Hopefully it'll illuminate.
Oh, wow.
You are in the Americas. Can you see? Your pat. Oh, amazing. Well done, girls.
Cool.
Have you been to the South Africa? You've been on, that's the third one. Well done.
Let's go outside. So it's fantastic to know that even from a small town, we'll find out how big St Day is, but even from a small town, there's such heritage and history and just vast impact that it can have. And so I have got the facts a bit more about the name. So the festival's called DiaspAURA, which comes from diaspora, DIASPORA, meaning the movement, migration or scattering of people away from an established or ancestral homeland. So we were talking earlier about the Cornish people who've gone away to Americas and Australia and South Africa, all across the world, but still sort of retained their Cornish heritage. And obviously then with the aspect of light involved in the festival, it's then changed to DiaspAURA, DIASPAURA, which I think is a really lovely play on words, and sort of how the light festival is celebrating the movement of the people, but in a lovely way that sort of isn't just signs and information leaflets, but actually is about something fun and something that the kids can get involved in, and even the adults. And we'll see what else goes on as we explore. Good evening. Can I speak to you guys, ladies, for a few moments for the film? So you have high-vis jackets on, so I'm presuming that you guys are in charge or responsible for something. Marshals. Oh, that's a very important job, very important. So how did you get involved in the festival? Or why are you involved?
Well, we go to circuits
training
and meet up with a lot of people that organise it. Do all the organising.
So do you live in St Day?
Yes. Yeah.
So have you sort of seen the development of the church as it's gone from being in disrepair to now this sort of the new development of it?
Well, over the years, you know, they've done different things.
Yes. That's we're going down there.
Oh, you go down. You've not seen it at all yet.
No, we haven't seen it yet. No.
Just last few questions. So obviously, it's a beautiful building even now in its state. But why do you think that development and heritage projects like this are important to the community and to sort of keeping aspects of historical buildings alive?
Well, I think, you know, this used to be a mining area, and there's a lot of heritage in this area. I mean, it was lots of different minerals in this area, and people have, you know, relations that have generations gone by. So it's nice to keep up.
Excellent.
With it now.
My mother-in-law got married in the church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1948.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, there's a...
Yeah, there's probably not many left that got married there. Probably not now.
No, they passed away now, but I meant she got married in 1948.
It'd be fun. Do you think she has any photos?
Yeah, I've got photos.
So you've got pictures of what the church was like before?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I bet that's really interesting to see the sort of the comparison.
Yeah.
Now. Anyway, well, I'll leave you to enjoy it. Go and enjoy. Ring the bell. There's a laser electric light bell. So go and enjoy. Have a lovely evening. Vital for any community event, a snack wagon. Oh, good evening. You're a parish councillor. Do you mind being interviewed for a few minutes?
I don't mind, yeah.
Thank you. What's your name?
Clive Jones.
And so you're parish council for St Days?
I am, yeah.
So...
I'm one of them.
So have you been down to see the church? Yeah, or are you on your way down?
I'm on my way down now.
Okay, I will ask. I won't ask you what your favourite exhibit is in there, but why are projects like this important to community and heritage in keeping sort of the history of buildings, especially churches, that are sort of slowly going into disrepair?
Well, it's all good for St Day. That is a landmark from a long way away, wherever you're walking around or driving. If you ever get lost, you know the way back, you can follow the steeple.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so why have you supported this project and this development?
Because I'm nosy.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Have you been into it recently to see the sort of changes and
No. No, the last time my memory of there is my mum and dad got married there.
Oh, really?
In that church there.
Oh, fantastic. Oh,
I think they're one of the last ones to be married there.
have you got photos? I mean, not to hand,
Unfortunately,
but
both of them are gone, and I think we got one photo of them in the doors of the church.
Oh, fantastic. So so for you actually the church is significantly important to your family history, and it must be nice to see that it's not just crumbling and being demolished.
Well, that's right, because we're living in the future, not in the past. So yes, that is the future, and I admire the people that are actually influential in getting it sorted.
It's been quite exciting
coming.
seeing it on social media and seeing the development of it with like the new windows being put in and everything as it's gone on. So why should someone, if they're not from St Days, come along and see the Light Festival?
That's a difficult question, isn't it? It's difficult to know that, obviously being a resident of St Day for over 60 years. Why other people would be interested? Yes, because we've got history and heritage, maybe they haven't, so they can sample that if they come here.
Well, it's very exciting. I'm not from St Day, so it's really nice to see.
Have you ever been to St Day Feast?
I haven't been here before, and I will definitely want to come again now I've seen it.
And the dancing in the streets, or you got to come.
I will do.
You can dance with me if you want.
Well, we'll see next time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
well, it was lovely to chat to you, and do go and enjoy. And they've got the electric laser lights.
Yeah. I've not
church
actually
bell.
seen them, so that's why I want
yes,
to come.
no, go and enjoy. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you ever so much for speaking to us.
I'm actually one of the stewards tomorrow night, so I thought I'd suss out what I got to do.
Excellent, very
Right.
wise, very
Thank
wise.
you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Good evening, sir. Can I ask you a few questions?
No?
Too late.
What
I've
kind of
asked you
questions?
already.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Why are you involved in the DiaspAURA Light Festival?
Well, I was just here to take care of people if they want anything, know where to go, or just here for questions, really.
Are you a resident of the village?
Yeah, live in St Day, up the road there. There's quite a few people that involved with, circuits and Church Hall and WI. All,
Sorry.
that's all right. No, all the people that are involved with different things are all involved with this, really. Yeah.
Do you mind me asking how long you've been a resident of St Day?
Well,
Well.
12 years.
Okay, so you don't you haven't seen it going from a sort of more church in use to then having it being in disrepair to now the regeneration project.
Well, I lived at Stithians before, and I've got a partner who's lived in St Day for 25 years. Right, she lost her partner, I lost mine, and we played bowls at Stithians. But she's been involved with everything going on in St Day for lots of years. So she knows everybody and all the different groups and things, So I'm with her, and she's having there looking at lights with another friend.
Right.
And
So it's been an interesting sort of development into the community and now seeing it
they do
actually
so
used.
much. They do so much in the village. Everybody's involved with things. It's amazing what they do.
So why should someone, if they're not a local to St Day, come along to the festival and come along to the church and the activities that will be happening?
Well, it's interesting. Anything interesting is worth looking at, So I mean, it's very good what they've done. They're very creative, So I'm all for that, really.
Have you been down this evening already to see?
No, my partner's down there.
She's
She's coming back, and then I go back where she's
then.
going
I'll have to
back.
come back and find you and ask you what your favourite display is.
Okay, no problem.
That's right. Have a good evening.
Okay.
So the laser display is starting to come up, I think, outside the church. But you can see it that it's lit up from within, which is a lovely scene, being as it went into disrepair in the 1980s when vandalism caused the roof to fall in, and then as a result that the remainder of the roof had to be demolished, which then sort of, you know, you lose part of the heritage within the church building, and so to actually be able to see the lights lit up, it looks as if it's sort of back to its use prior to the disrepair. But let's carry on wandering down. So the church is starting to fill up with a few more people as they're exploring the different displays and activities that you can do around the church. There's some musical and light performances, I would say. Quite a fabulous dress. Gonna have a look, yeah.
I'm getting ready.
Oh. Hello, can I come and chat to you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
I can't drum and sing.
You can't drum
at the same
at all.
time. I can do some rhythms, but if I'm playing a rhythm like that, I'll go, hello, my name is Colin Seddon.
I like that, and then, well, I can dance along with it. So, do come in. I love your dress.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I feel like you guys should be at like the Met Ball or something like that.
We need to be in a darker space, to be honest,
either that
really.
or on top of a Christmas cake or something, you know.
I think
it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's very, these look like stars floating around. It's quite nice.
We are the spirit of light.
My light's gone off. Oh, no, they're still on.
Yes. Yeah, they're still there, flashing away.
Yeah.
So, tell me about why you guys are involved in the DiaspAURA Light Festival, and
we're kind of just like representing the spirit of light, and we just go around being light and making lots of noise and moving a lot.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
like
nice.
the fifth element.
Yeah.
So we've got, air, sea, water, earth, and we are the fifth element.
Yeah.
So we are what you would like us to be in your life. Yeah. And just bring a little bit of spirit of dance and music and atmosphere.
Excellent. So have you been involved in the project here at the church before, or is this your first time?
No, we did one. It wasn't. There was a bit here last time, wasn't there? But we did a thing about 3 years ago. Was it about 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. And it played at different places. So we did it at Carnmarth Quarry. Where else did we do it? Gwenup Pit,
Red
And one spot here, sort of all around the village.
It was a different project, but not connected to this particular church.
Yeah, so it was different. It was working with the same team of people, a lot of them anyway.
A daylight group.
Yeah.
So, obviously, it's really sad that sort of church buildings and old historic buildings sort of do go into disrepair, but it's fantastic that projects and teams that have come in and are able to sort of regenerate and put things in that the community comes to. But why do you think it's important for communities, for history, for heritage, in us actually respecting and maintaining our buildings?
Well, I think it's important for people to understand what came before, and I think it's really interesting that a project like this redefines the space. It's the best you can do with it unless it's possible to rebuild it. But I think it has to be relevant to now as well. I think preservation of things as they were without really moving forward and changing is unhealthy, I think. I think it's good to have a recognition of what came before and an understanding of your history, but I think that things need to move forward as well. Otherwise people won't get engaged with them. They become nothing more than literally museum pieces.
Yeah. So projects like this where it's things with the kids getting involved and alternative events and projects that happen.
And whilst the mining industry might have died in the area, the arts obviously survive in a huge way, and so why not celebrate the arts and use this space exactly for that?
So why should someone, maybe if they're not local to St Day, but sort of in and around Cornwall, Devon and maybe even further, why should they come down for the DiaspAURA Light Festival this weekend?
because it's cool and there's a lot of really interesting things going on.
You guys are here.
Yeah, there's people doing really interesting creative things. I mean, you can see all these people all behind you, all these lanterns and things, and mobile things that people have made. These have all been put together by different groups in the area, different schools and organisations, and that's just everybody getting involved in art. And you know, everybody can be creative.
We all need some feel good, don't we?
Sorry?
We all need some feel good.
I think so, yeah.
And community work.
Definitely, yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to break in a minute. So do you want to just sort of take us out with a beat, and we can all have a dance? Yes. Yeah.
My name is Claire Summerson. I'm a co-founder of the Daylight Group. I've been involved with creating Signs and Wonders. I work with Kate Beasley. We designed the project together. One of our sort of passions is to make projects using light. It's been a huge project for us and a big step. So pleasing that we've had such a big support from the community, which has enabled the Daylight Group to do this, to become bigger in its ambition and to create more experimental work. We've had support from not only from the community but from funders and sponsors who have funded us on the Signs and Wonders project. What we wanted to do is to link the 4 events because although they're quite close together, we felt that there needed to be that kind of like a bridge between them and something that reoccurred. And so we did that by creating the Spirit of Light, which was an illuminated dancer and drummer. They were able to kind of bring that kind of physicality and such a really big asset to the project. We didn't have any publicity to work with, and so we were able to work with them, make a film in a studio and create beautiful shapes and images to promote a new project that we had nothing to show for. So that was very, very good. Incredibly exciting for us to work in some really stunning locations. The event at St Ruman's Garden in Redruth, which was our gentle introduction to the project, because we were joining in with another event that was already starting and that Kate had been running for several years. So that allowed us to kind of elaborate on that and to introduce some projection into that, which was just really great because it used to be a cinema.
I make animated films and I'm a projectionist. The first one for Redruth was made with the help of 3 local schools. I went to the schools and ran animation workshops. The students made little short animated clips which then I edited together into a film which was projected in Redruth.
We're incredibly lucky to have the Daylight Choir, which was set up for a previous project to celebrate the restoration of the clock tower in St Day.
Most people believe that the choir was formed for the celebration event for the town clock and it would disband. But here we are 2 years on and the choir has grown from strength to strength.
So I had a message from a friend with about 5 days notice. Help! Can you help lead the choir next Saturday? And they're gigging and there's one rehearsal. This was a great opportunity for me to come in on something. I mean, really, it was a bit of a baptism of fire, but the guys have been so lovely. So really, it's a case of that if Emma hadn't been ill and there hadn't been the Signs and Wonders gigs coming up, I wouldn't have been able to have my first choir to lead.
We took the theme of candlelight and fire because of the link to William Murdoch, and his house is attached to St Rumon's Gardens. Lots of schools and community groups were involved with that and created that work. So that's one of the key things for the Daylight Group, is that we've been making the work really inspired by the community, with the community, for the community.
As a local primary school teacher, we've been able to get many young people involved and I've seen children want to carry on and make more just of their own talents, really, so it's been brilliant.
We ran the events over the winter, partly because it brings people out, it brings people to events.
Some of these people wouldn't even think about getting out of their house on a wet, cold winter's evening, but they do it now because they've got something to look forward to. They're meeting people, they're making friends.
I've made so many new friends. It's amazing. We don't just get together to sing, we end up getting together, having parties, making our hat decorations and things like that for the various Signs and Wonders events. So this has become more than just a choir where we sing. We're quite good at partying.
So our second event ended up being at Carmarth, which again is another stunning location. It's got an amphitheatre and a lake, and so a lot of water. So obviously our theme for this second event was water. I got the opportunity to create something that I've been wanting to create for some years now, is a floating light installation made from recycled plastic bottles. A lot of community groups and school groups, we all cut and created somewhere near 400 flowers made from plastic bottles.
And another really amazing part of the Signs and Wonders season was seeing one of my favourite local bands, Hand to Hear, playing, and also the Daft Monkeys, who are phenomenal, playing on Carmarth. And yeah, that was just to be dancing in the middle of winter on the side of Carmarth was fantastic. I've never ever seen anything that energetic and large scale.
I count myself very lucky to have had free entry, really. I was taken aback by the art, and I think many people were as well. I was
quite proud because my granddaughter and my daughter actually came here and helped to make some of the objects that were put on the floating display on the pond.
I'm Bernadette Fallon. I'm chairperson of the St Day Old Church Community Interest Company, and our involvement in with the Daylight project has been really to provide the old church as a venue. It is a wonderful venue. It has all sorts of things. It has drama and majesty and darkness at night for all the light shows, and it's wonderful that the community owns the church, that they feel that they can come here and use it as a means of artistic expression.
We love working there because for light-based projects, having a space within a town that is fairly devoid of any light pollution just is really, really satisfying.
We had a wonderful cross over here in the entrance to the churchyard,
which incidentally was just reflecting the medieval cross opposite here, which they hadn't realised.
People came down a couple of days later and said, "Where's the cross gone? That stone cross that was there." It brought it to life. It made it look absolutely wonderful, and people were thrilled to bits. There was music down here. People were coming down in the darkness to all these lights and absolutely overwhelmed by it.
Our theme there was air. So as St Day can be pretty windy, it's on the top of a hill. We kind of, that was our way into that. And so I worked with hundreds of school children to make illuminated kites. We attached them all to sticks and they did look gorgeous. Tony Minion, who created a gorgeous projection based on like a Guatemalan kite, a big circular projection, which incorporated the 4 elements.
The community has been involved in the Signs and Wonders project at all levels, including helping to make the work and as marshals on the night.
We had the school field, we had the old church, and then we had the market square. And to link all that together, we brought in a lantern procession which carried people through, and we created a steam engine, the Puffing Devil, which is designed by Richard Trevithick. Obviously is a local hero in the area, or linked with the mining. And so that gave us an opportunity to connect with people who were familiar with the lantern procession, and allow people to kind of like participate in the event, which we really wanted all the way through, is to have that audience participation and for people to feel a part of things.
I enjoyed seeing the events get people together in St Day, getting families together through involving the local children, getting their parents out, and just drawing people together so that people in St Day got a reason to come out and enjoy themselves on cold winter's evenings, and 1 or 2 of them were cold.
For me to see St Day come together in such a magnificent way, with such exciting projects, so many people involved in it, has been glorious.
We've been involved with the old church for 30 years. It's been a very long project of bringing it back to life. We're delighted that the Daylight project and Signs and Wonders has been part of this. It was a very important starter to what we were doing, what we are doing.
And it gives it a whole new dimension.
It does, yes.
And then we picked up with Grenat Pit, and in the end had a beautiful evening. We had a few issues because the pipes in the building burst due to the snow and ice, and so we were left with no power and no parking. Sally, who lives next door to Grenat Pit, and provided us with power and a place to kind of bring people and refresh them and give them drinks and things, and make it a bit more of an event. Obviously we couldn't have the amount of people that we would have liked to, because it's a rural area, there's narrow roads, we couldn't bring in a lot of people. We kind of had a celebration of the event. We allowed it to thank the Daylight group and to all the people that had been involved in the project so far. So it was a lovely evening, and we were right, the light installation looked absolutely stunning, and the theme here was Earth. It's a sunken mining work, so it was right to use that as the theme.
Signs and Wonders has given me a fantastic opportunity to improve my practice, not only in making the animations but also in projecting, particularly the 3D mapping onto the outside of the building here and also onto a Celtic cross.
When we were singing in the choir, and all we could see on the other side of the pit were these wonderful coloured lanterns swaying in time with our singing, and it was just a magical moment, and the whole thing's just been a series of magical moments like that to remember.
I think we achieved what we set out to achieve. We've had a lot of challenges, and we've tried out new things that's what we wanted to do. We worked with over, I think nearly 700 people were involved in the making of this project, and there were nearly 50 people employed. We really feel that we've had such a lot of good feedback from people involved in it and from people who came to see it, that we feel that it's it's really important that we don't stop now, and we move forward, and we continue to develop.
Good evening, and we are back at the DiaspAURA Light Festival at St Day Old Church in St Day, and the band are playing yesterday, I think it is, and filling the church with beautiful music alongside the bells and the organ that we have yet to investigate. But it's lovely to see the church being full with community celebrating the Light Festival. Ooh. Good evening. Do you mind being interviewed?
I do.
I know. Sorry. Can I ask you a few questions?
Questions, I might not have anything interesting to say, but we can try.
Why are you here this evening at the Light Festival?
Because I have a friend that has been working hard on the church for years, and I'm going to be singing here on Sunday night, and we wanted to come and see the lights before we do that.
So have you been in the church prior to this evening?
Well, yes, we've had a private tour with our friend who's busy, been busy. So she showed us around about 18 months ago. And
Gosh,
it's
I bet
amazing.
it's changed since even then.
Well, I think it has. It's amazing what they've done. Yeah. And the window frames are utterly beautiful. Yes.
And you can't really see it now, but with the green against the sort of the stone, it just really pops a bit.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. We did actually see that, didn't we? We came to look at that a week or two ago, just because we knew they'd gone up.
Fantastic. Yeah. So are you local to St Day then?
We're from Redruth.
Yes. Okay. So, I suppose then you are involved in it, but why is it important for people who aren't just from St Day to take part and explore and celebrate projects like this that happen even in small villages?
Well, I think the following up of the history and the diaspora is absolutely crucial, and I've done quite a lot of work on that myself in Redruth. So I think bringing the community together, understanding our history and their history is absolutely wonderful. I love it.
Super, excellent. Thank you ever so much. Right. Well, I don't think I'm going to be here on Sunday, but I hope you have a wonderful time singing.
I'm sure
and
it will
have
be
a lovely
wonderful.
weekend.
We've got a fabulous set.
Fantastic. Can you give me you don't have to sing it, but can you give me a hint of one or two songs that you might be doing?
Oh. No, I can't. I've read the set through and I thought that's going to be brilliant.
That's fine.
But
that's
I can't
fine.
remember any of them.
It's a surprise for Sunday. That people are going to have to come down and hear you guys.
On
Super,
Sunday.
excellent.
It'll be wonderful.
Thank you ever so much.
With the Inglehart Singers.
Inglehart Singers. Super. Thank you ever so much. Thanks.
Little boy there, dressed as a musketeer.
That is the sweetest thing ever. Shall I go in front of us? Can I do that for a second? lovely music being performed by a school group, I think. We will confirm who they were later on. And so if we maybe go and explore the organ, because we've been hearing that all evening.
Swap with me, Neil? No, I just mean in like... Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Are you having a nice time?
I'm having a lovely time. Well, I haven't managed to get out and properly explore the event yet because I've been in here, but I'm having a...
So tell me a bit more about the light organ.
Well, the light organ is made by myself. My name's Mike and my partner Jasmine, and we're a theatre company, so we are Coppice Theatre, but we use these colour-changing light bulbs to light our shows, which have sort of been about a year and a half of tinkering with them, really, because then they're quite unconventional because they're Philips Hue light bulbs. They're just domestic colour-changing light bulbs, but we have this software that lets us manipulate them. And because we're a little theatre company, it works out really well for us because means we can have colour-changing lights and we can afford them. They use barely any power as well. And then we got invited to do this, so it's been fun to kind of put all those things together and turn it into a light installation, essentially.
So has the organ been a feature before, or why have you sort of incorporated this within?
Well, we know we wanted to do something with our light bulbs, and we knew it was going to be in this location, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like the location of the project informs what you create. So, you know, it being a cathedral, we thought it would be lovely to create an organ of some sort, and originally we thought of just having the lights light up, but then we thought it'd be nice if they blinked on and turned off. So that's sort of just a process of creation to come to that. And it's also great being in the vestibule area here. It's nice to walk in and actually
little alcove.
Yeah, you get that feeling of an organ.
So you're not local to St Day?
Yeah, we are actually. Jasmine is Pete and Claire's daughter, so and she's my partner. Right. So we're in St Day a lot. And Cornwall, so...
I know, well, that's brilliant, but it's just sort of, I was going to then ask, why is it important that community groups or art sort of groups and creative organisations, why they should get involved in spaces that celebrate, doesn't have to be a church, that celebrate kind of local heritage and community?
Yeah, well, I think... to put it simply, to start with, this is an amazing space, and it's just come back into the community's hands. So it's really exciting to have a space like this that you can use. And I don't know, I think I always sort of sound a little bit like my grandfather when I say this, but I think, like, this day and age, things that get people out and interacting with each other and interacting with things in like face-to-face and tactilely, I don't know, I sort of feel like as a society we're starting to attach more and more value to that, because the more everything becomes sort of digital. So, you know, we've gained a lot from that, but it kind of shows how more important it is to actually have those tactile and social experiences with each other. So,
and I won't ask your age, but I'm guessing you're around my age. In that,
yeah, 20. Yeah.
Yes. But you know, for us, probably, you know, a lot of buildings are more modern, you know, things eat quickly, and you know, it's easier to knock it down and build something new. Actually, you know, as you say, community spaces are important, but actually having something with a history and the heritage, actually, I think that I think that's important for us as we get older, for our children and grandchildren. And sort of, would you agree with that? And
No, not at all. No. No, of course. And like, as I'm talking on a large scale here, but as the world becomes more and more globalized, which I personally think is for the better, and you know, as in theory people and countries become closer together, in theory, it's more important that local areas understand what makes them unique, because as one of the unfortunate consequences of things, of sort of globalization, is that you start to lose the identity of individual places. Instead you have the country has an identity instead of the county having an identity, for example.
And there's wider spread,
Yeah.
sort of distinguishable features within separate areas.
Exactly, like everything becomes the same. You know, you drive down the same road and it's the same Tesco Express that you've seen. You could be anywhere in the country, and so I think that it's important to kind of connect to and engage with the local area's history, because it kind of informs the identity of that place. And you know, we gain a lot from being better connected to the rest of the world and being able to access that quicker than ever. But actually, which I benefit from myself, is the modern world. It's great, but it does become harder to understand what makes you and your area unique as a consequence of that, potentially. And you know, as industry dies away as well, like, you know, mining, etc. You know, obviously mining used to be a large part of what made Cornwall, but now it doesn't really exist anymore, and the same with many places up north. So it's yeah, I think, and obviously there's a lot of poverty in Cornwall especially as well, and now that the EU subsidies have vanished, and who knows if they'll actually get replaced by Mr. Johnson. It's all the more
so community
so
community spaces are hugely important.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say.
So,
yes, I think.
that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. Excellent. I might have to cue for a moment and see if I'm allowed to play on the organ.
Welcome.
Is that okay?
I think actually kind of talking to you with this cacophony going on behind me helps me not really think about what I'm saying. So I'm sorry if I've just kind of like you know, waffled for an hour.
It's not just a sound background. It's not just a light background. It's a sound background as well. It's very very exciting.
Especially when lots of keys are being pressed at the same time.
Yes.
It gets quite bright.
Right. That's very cool.
I think some of the light bulbs are still catching up. The computer can only manage that.
Am I allowed to play for a few moments?
Please do. What kind of noise do you want? Do you want a classic, just normal piano to start with, or do you want more sci-fi?
Let's go classic piano.
Yeah. There you go. Then we can go to the 80s, maybe. This is the arpeggiator.
you. Have a lovely evening. Well, that was great fun. Are you going to go in and play the keyboard? You want to? I'm sure the guys will let you. It's good fun, good fun. So let's... Oh. These are... It's a bit tricky to see the whole frame, but gravestone shapes with light installations in it, and if you look closely at them, it is actually the stained glass windows. So again, tricky to see, obviously because it's dark outside, but the windows have been, I think, probably restored to as best as they can. In the top windows, oh, someone is just shining the lights on them now. They've got what sort of glass is left in them, so I've imagined that the teams have sort of restored what best glass that they can. These ones, I think, are in the shapes of birds. And it's amazing to see the different colours on them. Just imagine the intricacy and sort of delicate touch required in making them, not only the glass themselves, but actually then going in the windows. And it's tricky to see what they look like normally in churches because their tops are so far away and high up, but actually these ones are really beautiful. And again, it's lovely that they're sort of restored in a new way, like these three displays here. How are the bell ringing?
Oh, they're doing
going?
very well.
I've forgotten it already. What's it? What's the?
This is the laser bell.
Campanology. Campanology. I didn't forget it. I did remember
That's right,
it.
Yeah. So it's all about the. I'm trying to tell them that it's all about the timing. It's not about strength. But they, some of them get it, some of them don't. I think this one might be a bit harder. You know. Let's get it going for you. The thing is, you've got to let it go. Oh, it's
Anyway, so this large unit has got beautiful individual displays, I think, going all the way around with number of names and dates, presumably taking elements of stories from the old church. So there's schools, meals. So the name of the DiaspAURA Light Festival comes from DiaspAURA, which I will, just to make sure I've got it right, comes from the movement or migration, scattering of people away from an established or ancestral homeland. So what's already been sort of mentioned this evening has been the migration of people from St Day across the world. So we've had Australia, South America, and the Americas, and obviously sort of these light pictures reflect that of to how far that the people across the world have gone from St Days. And obviously, as it's been a mining area that was hugely important in the establishment and building of the church in the early 1820s. But then actually in the latter part of the 19th century that actually the mining started to diminish, which meant that obviously numbers diminished coming to church because of the area, population was starting to go down, and that's one of the reasons that made the church go into sort of slight less use, and then obviously the disrepair in the early part the following century. So it's just lovely to see that sort of the impact that even such a small place can have. What else have we got on this side? So again, people that we've chatted to this evening have said how many of their parents have been married in the church, obviously prior to the disrepair. And again, I think this sort of image captures that lovely that people, you know, it still was a usable church prior to its disrepair. chat to you?
The artists that work with the kids making.
Oh, really? Can you tell me a bit more about them then?
Yeah, they're based on 3 different characters, actually 4 different characters that have memorials in the church. There's the Harvey brothers, who lived here between 1780 and 1855, James Harvey and Colin Harvey. And they had a shop in St Day and they made loads and loads of money. They were very wealthy. And then there was a woman called Bessie, who's also got a memorial here. She was a sort of teacher and she loved nature. So there's lots of images of sort of birds and nature and stuff. And then there was an airline pilot called, you'll have to have a look around here to remember. Ernest Robert Bristow. So, and he travelled a lot. He was born in India. His family were from St Day, and he was an airline pilot. Flew to Canada. His aeroplane crashed in Scotland on its way to Newfoundland and Canada. But his family were from here, and so in terms of diaspora, there was sort of a lot of like Bessie was born in the Caribbean, but her grandparents lived here and she came back here eventually. And so, lots of travelling. So there is actually an animation that isn't actually on yet, but it's around this side.
We'll have to have a look in a minute.
These are all the artworks from the animation. So it's like a silhouette animation.
So you did these with
St Day Primary School.
Oh, fantastic. So why do you think... Obviously, I've spoken to the people this evening about why sort of history and heritage and preservation of buildings like these churches are important. Why do you think it's important to get the kids involved in projects like this?
Well, I think it's great for them to sort of know about the history of where they live and feel sort of part of it. And they probably, if a lot of them live locally as well, they might know some of the ancestors of these people that were buried here, and I think it's really interesting for the kids to find out about their local history, and also in terms of diaspora, thinking about where people have been and come back to, and what countries that a lot of the miners sort of working all over the world started off in Cornwall, went away, came back again, and it's all quite interesting how everything links up.
Fantastic. So the animation is on the other side?
Everything on this side when it starts, when they get it working, and it's basically all these images but animated.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much for chatting to us. Have you had a look around at the other displays that have been on?
Yeah, it's looking great. Yeah, it's looking amazing. Yeah, really.
Have you had a go on the bells or on the organ yet?
I want to have a go on that if I can get some of those kids off.
I've just been I've done both actually, but they both are very fun, and it's lovely to be able to do something that kind of celebrates the church, but in this new way that sort of slight art and technology coming into something of heritage.
Absolutely, it's great that those sounds can generate the images up there. That's really clever stuff.
Excellent, super. Thank you ever so much.
You're welcome.
Should we have a wander outside to see of the laser show out on the front of the church? Slightly breezier outside, but you can see on the church What's been really nice seeing up on the lasers is that the obviously this talk about sort of migration and people moving, across the world, and especially if we're looking sort of 150 years ago, obviously they couldn't fly, so boats would have been a huge primary form of transportation. It's really lovely to see sort of the boats in the display upon the church, where also the kids have been encouraged to do UV drawings, and so in the UV animation country spaces, it's really nice to see how it's all linking together. There's some. Ooh. Are we maybe? Is something about to happen? Choir. Shall we follow you guys down and we can have a listen? So obviously, as it's a light festival, all the choir have got top hats with fairy lights wrapped around them, just making for a very atmospheric walk down back into the church. was an amazing light show displayed against the church. Everyone was silent whilst it was on. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think the choir about to sing. So whilst the choir just get themselves set up, they're performing underneath the chandelier display of they were groups from schools, community groups, and organisations across the area were given the sort of the frames, and they've each sort of put their designs on, and they look fantastic all together, and it really brings together that sense of community and sort of what that whole of the festival's about, and it's lovely to look at.
We have for you our songs connected with diaspora, either because they're songs about the country that some of the miners went to. Anyway, see how many connections you can make yourselves. But we're starting in Cornwall with a Cornish song called Who Knows.
Amíamos un mes. Mia Claus, and trost and pesces minnes. Pes mia drurias, and pes pros nori lostio. All and bubble in town, Bishra, na mino ligan sengi. Amíamos, amíamos whenever. Mia Claus, and son and skaffa froska. Pes mia drurias, kolon and molos frango. All and bubble in pothenes, na mino ligan sengi. Amíamos, amíamos the grey soul. Mia Claus, a deck that you were wearing. There's mia drurias, poor quetic careless. All and bubbling forth leven, na mino ligan sengi. Amíamos, amíamos remains. Mia Claus, and trost and pestes minnes. Pes mia drurias, and pes pros dori lostio. All and bubble in town, Bishra, na mino ligan sengi.
Evening, Pete. Evening, Mr. Jeffrey. Can anyone speak Cornish? Can you translate that? No. And to be honest, you wouldn't want to, because it's all a load of riddles. It says, As I was going out from the Blue Down, I heard the noise of small fishes. But I found a big fish with 9 tails, and all the people of Newquay could not seize hold of it. Okay? Okay. Now, as you will know, the stories of the Cornish miners, when the mines were closing down, economic closures, they travelled, they had to leave. And this song is about leaving. It's from a band called Merry Hell. I nicked it with their permission and rewrote the words.
The wind will take our wings. The wind will take our wings. The wind will take our wings, and we will fly away. We will fly away, and we will fly away. We will fly away. The wind will take our wings. The mines are closing down. The mines are closing down. The mines are closing down. And we must work away. We must work away. And we must work away. We must work away. The mines are closing down. We're spread across the world. We're spread across the world. We're spread across the world. And that is where we'll stay. That is where we'll stay. And that is where we'll stay. That is where we'll stay. We're spread across the world. The Cornish songs we sing. The Cornish songs we sing. The Cornish songs we sing. They'll be sung here when we're gone. Sung here when we're gone. They'll be sung here when we're gone. Sung here when we're gone. The Cornish songs we sing. We're never coming home. We're never coming home. We're never coming home. But our hearts are in Cornwall. 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 But we're never coming home. The wind will take our wings. The wind will take our wings. The wind will take our wings. And we will fly away. Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. When you are a laker, Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. Socialosa. Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. When you are a laker, when you are a laker, Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. South Africa. Socialosa. Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. South Africa. When you are a laker, Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. South Africa. Socialosa. Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. South Africa. When you are a laker, Kool-Aid's on top of Stimula. South Africa. Stimula, Skumme Sapa, when we Wabaleka, Kule Sotaba, Stimula, Skumme Sapa, Shaloza, Kule Sotaba, Stimula, Skumme Sapa, when we Wabaleka, Kule Sotaba, Stimula, Skumme South Africa.
Anyone know where we went to in that last song? South Africa. Okay. Oh gosh. What's my thing doing there? That's not mine. Who's this up? Oh, it's yours, isn't it? Yeah. I'd rather put me up. Okay. Have you heard of the Cousin Jacks? Pardon? Yeah. Yes. Good. Here's a song what was written by a Devon man. I don't know where it is in your book. Yes, but mine. Is that right? Yep. We have Alan on bouzouki. Woo! Woo!
They don't want to see me. This land is barren and broken. Well, like the face of the moon. Our land is no longer spoken. Towns all around face ruin. Will there be work in New Brunswick? Will I find gold in the hay? If I tunnel way down to Australia, oh, how will I ever escape? Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the road or inside the bay. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the country behind, I'm not coming back. So follow me down, Cousin Jack. The soul was too cold to make even. Running and sea left no choice. No visions of heaven sustained us. When John Wesley gave us a voice. Did Joseph once come to St. Michael's Mount? 2,000 years past in a dream. When you're working away in the darkness, deep in the heart of the sea. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the road or inside the bay. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the country behind, and I'm not coming back. So follow me down, Cousin Jack. I dream of a bridge on the Tamar. It opens us up to the east. The English, they live in our houses, and the Spanish, they fish in our seas. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the load or inside the vein. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run in your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the country behind and I'm not coming back. Where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, that's where I'm heading for, that's where I'm bound. Look for me under the road or inside the vein. Where the copper, the clay, where the arsenic and tin run into your blood, they get under your skin. I'm leaving the country behind and I'm not coming back. So follow me down, Cousin Jack. Follow me down, Cousin Jack. Follow me down.
Oh, that's it. Oh. Wow! You don't need a mic, do you? Okay. This next song was written by a Cornishman, well, lives in Cornwall, I'm not sure he was born here, Mike O'Connor. And we're travelling to the Antipodes. Whoa, what can I hear? I can hear something.
In Waterloo, it's mighty fine, in Mutar and Caldina, and they remind me of the time when first I was a streamer. But when at night my eyelids close, my mind to far off places goes. The Southern Cross is soft like clothes when shining down on Sandon. Underground it's just the same as Crofty or Sellegan. The dust and dark, the flickering flame, it could just be Logan. We hear the same old songs again, the tunes, the tales, the family names, the starting nightingale's refrain, when shining down on Sandon. Christmas is the bravest time, we'll drink a pint of tawny, and Fiddler Jim will lead the mind when we sing Trelawney. We've sung that song the world around, where tin and copper may be found. The stars will hear that very sound when shining down on Sandon. At home the mines have closed their gates, or so said last year's letter, and Redruth town is no great shakes, and Poole is not much better. So in my mind I see them still, forever climbing Camborne Hill, and stars above their gaslight will be shining down on Sandon. Now South Australia's been real good to cousins Jack and Jenny, and many a Cornishman can say he's made a pretty penny. But Jackie this and Jackie that, his cousin Jack would carried his hat to see the stars that even yet are shining down on Senna.
We went to Australia. It was in the glass purse. Big clue. Now, you might think we're off to America, but actually there's another place called the name of this song, and it's in the northeast of England, which I believe is also somewhere where the Cornish miners went.
Yeah, iron mines.
Iron mines. So they went iron mining up in the northeast. This is by a band called Megson, and I've arranged it for the choir. It's very obvious where it's going to be, so I may as well tell you. It's California, in the northeast of England, not just over there.
My man's a good man. He'd do anything for me. He promised that one day a good home we'd see. But here we struggle to make our ends meet. So we will take the long road to California. That's where my love should be. I hope in California is waiting for me. My man's a good man. Sends word to me. He's working hard hours. It's cold by the sea. And I know there'll soon be enough, and I'll go. We'll make our home there. They call it California. That's where my love should be. I hope in California he's waiting for me. Waiting for me. My man's a good man, still working for me. I haven't heard word now, well, not recently. I know one day I'll see the lights glow.
So we're going to take a short break and we'll be back in about 20 minutes for probably the final part of this evening DiaspAURA Light Festival.
My name is Claire Summerson. I'm a co-founder of the Daylight Group. I've been involved with creating Signs and Wonders. I work with Kate Beasley. We designed the project together. One of our sort of passions is to make projects using light. It's been a huge project for us and a big step. So pleasing that we've had such a big support from the community, which has enabled the Daylight Group to do this, to become bigger in its ambition and to create more experimental work. We've had support from not only from the community but from funders and sponsors who have funded us on the Signs and Wonders project. What we wanted to do is to link the 4 events because although they're quite close together, we felt that there needed to be that kind of like a bridge between them and something that reoccurred. And so we did that by creating the Spirit of Light, which was an illuminated dancer and drummer. They were able to kind of bring that kind of physicality and such a really big asset to the project. We didn't have any publicity to work with, and so we were able to work with them, make a film in a studio and create beautiful shapes and images to promote a new project that we had nothing to show for. So that was very, very good. Incredibly exciting for us to work in some really stunning locations. The event at St Rumen's Garden in Redruth, which was our gentle introduction to the project, because we were joining in with another event that was already starting and that Kate had been running for several years. So that allowed us to kind of elaborate on that and to introduce some projection into that, which was just really great because it used to be a cinema.
I make animated films and I'm a projectionist. The first one for Redruth was made with the help of 3 local schools. I went to the schools and ran animation workshops. The students made little short animated clips which then I edited together into a film which was projected in Redruth.
We're incredibly lucky to have the Daylight Choir, which was set up for a previous project to celebrate the restoration of the clock tower in St Day.
Most people believe that the choir was formed for the celebration event for the town clock and it would disband. But here we are 2 years on and the choir has grown from strength to strength.
So I had a message from a friend with about 5 days notice. Help! Can you help lead the choir next Saturday? And they're gigging and there's one rehearsal. This was a great opportunity for me to come in on something. I mean, really, it was a bit of a baptism of fire, but the guys have been so lovely. So really, it's a case of that if Emma hadn't been ill and there hadn't been the Signs and Wonders gigs coming up, I wouldn't have been able to have my first choir to lead.
We took the theme of candlelight and fire because of the link to William Murdoch, and his house is attached to St Rumen's Gardens. Lots of schools and community groups were involved with that and created that work. So that's one of the key things for the Daylight Group, is that we've been making the work really inspired by the community, with the community, for the community.
As a local primary school teacher, we've been able to get many young people involved and I've seen children want to carry on and make more just of their own talents, really. So it's been brilliant.
We ran the events over the winter, partly because it brings people out, it brings people to events.
Some of these people wouldn't even think about getting out of their house on a wet, cold winter's evening, but they do it now because they've got something to look forward to. They're meeting people, they're making friends.
I've made so many new friends. It's amazing. We don't just get together to sing, we end up getting together, having parties, making our hat decorations and things like that for the various Signs and Wonders events. So this has become more than just a choir where we sing. We're quite good at partying.
So our second event ended up being at Carmarth, which again is another stunning location. It's got an amphitheatre and a lake, and so a lot of water. So obviously our theme for this second event was water. I got the opportunity to create something that I've been wanting to create for some years now, is a floating light installation made from recycled plastic bottles. A lot of community groups and school groups, we all cut and created somewhere near 400 flowers made from plastic bottles.
And another really amazing part of the Sounds and Wonders season was seeing one of my favourite local bands, Hand to Hear, playing, and also the Daft Monkeys, who are phenomenal, playing on Cornish. And yeah, that was just to be dancing in the middle of winter on the side of Cornish was fantastic. I've never ever seen anything that energetic and large scale.
I count myself very lucky to have had free entry, really. I was taken aback by the art, and I think many people were as well.
I was quite proud because my granddaughter and my daughter actually came here and helped to make some of the objects that were put on the floating display on the pond.
I'm Bernadette Fallon. I'm chairperson of the St Day Old Church Community Interest Company, and our involvement in with the Daylight project has been really to provide the old church as a venue. It is a wonderful venue. It has all sorts of things. It has drama and majesty and darkness at night for all the light shows, and it's wonderful that the community owns the church, that they feel that they can come here and use it as a means of artistic expression.
We love working there because for light-based projects, having a space within a town that is fairly devoid of any light pollution just is really, really satisfying.
We had a wonderful cross over here in the entrance to the churchyard,
which incidentally was just reflecting the medieval cross opposite here, which they hadn't realised.
People came down a couple of days later and said, "Where's the cross gone? That stone cross that was there." It brought it to life. It made it look absolutely wonderful, and people were thrilled to bits. There was music down here. People were coming down in the darkness to all these lights and absolutely overwhelmed by it.
Our theme there was air. So as St Day can be pretty windy, it's on the top of a hill. We kind of, that was our way into that. And so I worked with hundreds of school children to make illuminated kites. We attached them all to sticks and they did look gorgeous. Tony Minion, who created a gorgeous projection based on like a Guatemalan kite, a big circular projection, which incorporated the 4 elements.
The community has been involved in the Signs and Wonders project at all levels, including helping to make the work and as marshals on the night.
We had the school field, we had the old church, and then we had the market square. And to link all that together, we brought in a lantern procession which carried people through, and we created a steam engine, the Puffing Devil, which is designed by Richard Trevithick. Obviously is a local hero in the area, or linked with the mining, and so that gave us an opportunity to connect with people who were familiar with the lantern procession, and allow people to kind of like participate in the event, which we really wanted all the way through, is to have that audience participation and for people to feel a part of things.
I enjoyed seeing the events get people together in St Day, getting families together through involving the local children, getting their parents out, and just drawing people together so that people in St Day got a reason to come out and enjoy themselves on cold winter's evenings, and 1 or 2 of them were cold.
For me to see St Day come together in such a magnificent way, with such exciting projects, so many people involved in it, has been glorious.
We've been involved with the old church for 30 years. It's been a very long project of bringing it back to life. We're delighted that the Daylight project and Signs and Wonders has been part of this. It was a very important starter to what we were doing, what we are doing.
And it gives it a whole new dimension.
It does, yes.
And then we picked up with Grenat Pit, and in the end had a beautiful evening. We had a few issues because the pipes in the building burst due to the snow and ice, and so we were left with no power and no parking. Sally, who who lives next door to Gwenup Pit and provided us with power and a place to kind of bring people and refresh them and give them drinks and things and make it a bit more of an event. Obviously we couldn't have the amount of people that we would have liked to, because it's a rural area, there's narrow roads, we couldn't bring in a lot of people. We kind of had a celebration of the event. We allowed it to thank the Daylight Group and to all the people that had been involved in the project so far. So it was a lovely, lovely, lovely evening, and we were right, the light installation looked absolutely stunning. And the theme here was Earth. It's a sunken mining work, so it was right to use that as the theme.
Signs and Wonders has given me a fantastic opportunity to improve my practice, not only in making the animations but also in projecting, particularly the 3D mapping onto the outside of the building here and also onto a Celtic cross.
When we were singing in the choir, and all we could see on the other side of the pit were these wonderful coloured lanterns swaying in time with our singing, and it was just a magical moment, and the whole thing's just been a series of magical moments like that to remember.
I think we achieved what we set out to achieve. We've had a lot of challenges, and we've tried out new things that's what we wanted to do. We worked with over, I think nearly 700 people were involved in the making of this project, and there were nearly 50 people employed. We really feel that we've had such a lot of good feedback from people involved in it and from people who came to see it, that we feel that it's really important that we don't stop now, and we move forward and we continue to develop.
So we're at the final part of the Diaspora Light Festival this evening at St Day's Old Church, and it's been a fantastic evening of light displays and community, people coming together. How's the evening been for you guys? It's probably been quite a...
Hectic, to say the least.
Hectic.
Yeah. I think we just about got it all done in time.
Well, I think the community have really loved coming along and seeing it all.
Good, good. I'm impressed by how many people there have been, especially as it's the first night. It's been great. Yeah.
Why do you think that something like this, a little bit different, utilising an old building in a different way, is so important for the community?
Well, the community has just taken over this church and converting it into a venue, and this is kind of like a celebration of that. And I think, yeah, anything that brightens up cold winter nights, it's got to be good. And the community made this really, or most of it. So people are coming here and seeing the bits that they've made themselves, gives them ownership, which is great.
And it's been really nice to chat to some of the kids as well and find out the things that they've been doing and why they think that it's important for them to come and visit them. Do you think that sort of actually having that kind of intergenerational partnership within the individual and collective projects is sort of a good thing to celebrate?
Definitely, yeah.
Well, we were saying earlier how like having the children see their work projected on the front of the building, or have it inside the church, or part wherever it is in the church, they will remember that. It's like a memorable experience that they will take away with them, and I think that makes that connection very much stronger, so that they'll come, if they stay in St Day or they leave and they come back, they will remember that their work was full size on the front of the building. So it's really important, and I think that's the thing, is because a lot of heritage things get associated with older people, and we're trying to kind of break that barrier. So like bring a different audience in and give them a reason to want to look after it, because it's not only the diaspora and the kind of the history, but this is an amazing haven for wildlife and the environment, and it's a beautiful graveyard, and it's in the springtime you can see all the daffodils are up and the bluebells and the wild garlic and all, and it's incredible. It's a peaceful and really atmospheric space that people love to just come and spend time in. And I think it's important that the kids and appreciate that they're kind of maintaining that for their children and grandchildren and everything. So, because it would
and
just
it
fall
has
into
been whole
war.
families, isn't it? Three generations have been coming all together, which is great.
Yeah. And we just need to preserve the history and just the whole kind of. I think it's a beacon as well. You can see it from miles.
Someone earlier said that, which so I think again, like I suppose, churches 150 years ago, when this church was built, it would have been the centre of the community. People would have come together regularly, not just on a Sunday, and unfortunately, because of sort of lack of faith or sort of investment in faith now maybe that people don't come into churches as much. So actually it's that kind of understanding of heritage and history and buildings and sort of the saying about the graveyards that have or the gravestones that have kind of people from all over the world, or who went to other parts of the world, or who came back from other parts because they originally had family here. It must be kind of it's sentimentally a beacon as well as physically a beacon.
We were in here about a couple of months ago, and a lady from Tasmania. We just happened to be in here clearing up, and a lady from Tasmania came in. She was so excited that she could come in here because her great grandmother had been married in this church, and so she went. She was just so over the moon by the fact that she was able to trace her ancestors back here. And we do get visitors here from all over the world who come on that kind of pilgrimage to find their ancestors. And we went all around the graveyard trying to find hers, and which was really, really amazing. And she was just really over the moon. It was so exciting, we just happened to be here. I mean, because at the moment there's not many people in here because it's not it's been renovated, so it's not a place that's open to the public. So it's been so just when you do things like that and people you feel that that's really worthwhile.
So I'm from Plymouth, scandalously from over the bridge. It's been fantastic to come along and see this, and obviously it's going to be hugely significant for people not just from St Dave's to come along. But in preparation for this, I was researching under the Church Buildings Commissioner, and so like the actual fund that went towards building this and the other churches, and looking at the list, there were a number that were built in Plymouth, but they've all been demolished or were bombed during the war. So for this to be on the brink of collapse and for you guys to bring it back together, it's just absolutely fantastic. So very well done, and it's just very exciting to see how this continues, and hopefully we'll see you next year. I suppose it's as many events as possible that can be brought in.
We have more events going on in the year. We've got a community performance, and we've got a mosaic building sort of like so we're going to put together banners and mosaics to sort of like over the next 3 months or so, and then we will be doing this. Hopefully, we did it 2 years ago, and it's always been our aim to be biannual because we're a small group. The Daylight group is really just 2 or 3 people that sort of galvanise the community into doing things, and we built up the momentum, and we have a lot of community support now, and everyone's just kind of like so keen to get involved. So it's great, but actually from the fundraising and all that side of things, we do it ourselves, and we do it out of love, not out of financial gain. So we kind of like, we are going to be looking at how we can become more sustainable, I suppose, in terms of our events are free, and because we want to reach people, and we want because also in Cornwall there are traditions, and this isn't one of them. So we are sort of trying out new things, and we have to gradually introduce it, I think. So.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job at celebrating Cornwall and just the impact that it has beyond just sort of the town and villages that we're based in. So well done. Anyway, looking forward to the next few days then. Excellent.
it's the wind, and the wind just it makes everything that little bit harder.
Yes, yes. Well, at least it's not raining though.
No. Exactly.
That's good. Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much. Have a good evening. So, as we were chatting earlier, the animation that the kids have done, we're involved in this, with the stills that are around the rest of the block. And there's incredible stories of the history and the people that both have come from St Day or had family who've come from St Day and they've come from other places and come back. And it's just a wonderful way, as we said, of celebrating Cornwall and the people and the heritage and it actually now the community and how we can bring it together to not lose that history. And I think there might be some few people playing on the light keyboards, but we've got the electric laser lights. There's the community chandelier section. There's the bloodlines of the community in these displays going around the church, weaving in and out of the building with spots of quotes from the memorials and parts of the programme and history of the building, and lasers on the outside of the wall. There's work that the kids have done. There's parts to celebrate the history of both the people, of the buildings, and looking forward into how we can keep this heritage alive. And it's just been a wonderful evening. It is a little bit breezy, but it's dry. So the Diaspora Light Festival is here tomorrow, on Saturday and on Sunday. So do come down and really see what's going on. You can find out more if you go on Facebook and look up St Day's Old Church, or just Google Diaspora Light Festival. It'll surely come up and it'll tell you everything else that's going on. There's music, there's laser shows, there's the displays and features that have gone on. There's a crumpet van, which is amazing, and a number of other things to get involved with the community. It's fun for all the family and it's free. So come along and celebrate St Day Old Church.